The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Yeah. Flesh Wound After Dark. Going deep into that sensual world of Black Emanuelle box set. I am Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Todd.
We're almost done with these.
We're almost done. It's been fun, but man, we have watched a whole lot of European smut, Todd. And I have no issues with that. But yeah,
I noticed you didn't say a whole lot of Black Emanuelle.
a whole lot of Black Emanuelle. Less so as you go along in the box.
Maybe not as much today, but
not much today. But yeah, as we've gone along.
Now I see why people are upset we didn't get the alcove in the set. It is really like, yeah, it should have been in.
Yeah, I was a little surprised based on what we do have versus like those few things that we don't, but nonetheless, I mean, shit. You can go back. We've reviewed everything on this set. Probably one of the very few podcasts, and I'm very proud of this, that have actually bothered reviewing the set. You know, you're getting more than just there it is, and
we did that too, though. To be fair.
Well, yeah, we showed it off, but we actually reviewed the movies. We dived into the features, and yeah. So
I think we did a pretty goddamn spectacular unboxing there, Dan.
Yes, we did. We did a spectacular unboxing, and we reviewed everything. And yeah, it's so bizarre. I know a lot of people that will buy these super expensive sets just to sit on their shelves, and I don't get that. Watch your physical media. Don't just buy it to set it on a shelf. Watch it.
Yeah, I mean, even the ones I have set on a shelf, they're eventually to be watched. They just have sometimes there's a lot to watch.
I always have a backlog, but it's very rare. I'll have more that might still be sealed for an extended period than I used to, but not a lot that I've never seen before. If it's a new movie and I buy it, I tend to just watch it. But you know, maybe the third or fourth edition is something that you've owned. You don't get to it right away, but watch your physical media. That's the Flesh Wound message for the day. So we're kicking things off with Black Deepthroat, a 1977 film from director Guido Zerli. And I'll talk a little bit about the cast in just a moment, but essentially, this film follows Ajita Wilson, who plays Claudine, a newspaper reporter who goes undercover in search for information about an exclusive sex cult. So, in this
Black
film,
Emanuelle.
yeah, Black Emanuelle story, just replacing Laura Gemser with Ajita Wilson. Talking a little bit about this director was known for directing the 1971 horror film The Mad Butcher with Victor Bueno. That was a Something Weird DVD favorite back in the day. He also did Zorro the Fox, the spaghetti western Either All or None, and A Little Cowboy. Not super well known, but Mad Butcher is one that I'm sure you Something Weird fans remember. It also stars Patricia Webley, who has a nice resume. She was in Heroin Busters, a great movie. The really sleazy Giallo Play Motel. She was in Andrea Bianchi's Malabimba and the Italian sex comedy The Virgo, the Taurus, and the Capricorn, which some spillover from some previous reviews on those that were also involved in that. So I'm going to do something actually a little bit different and cover the solo special feature on this disc because
Okay.
you're talk about Ajita Wilson anyways. So one of the only special feature here that runs 16 minutes is Ajita Wilson, an elusive icon, a video essay by film and gender studies scholar Matt Richardson. And for those unfamiliar, if you're a Jess Franco fan like me, you recognize Ajita Wilson from several Jess Franco films, Sadomania, Macumba Sexual, and what have you. She began her career as a performer in New York's red light district in the early 70s. She got reassignment surgery in the mid 70s and then went on to appear in a series of soft and hardcore Euro features. Kind of a pioneer, although not a lot is known about Ajita Wilson, because being openly trans at this point would not bode well for your career. It did come out at some point, and again, it's unclear, but there was a newspaper leak at some point and kind of regulated her to more just strictly the sex stuff towards it was certainly as you got more into the 80s, and she had an untimely death in 1987. This is a nice feature because there is so little information on Ajita Wilson. They talk a little bit about being the beauty of the week for Jet magazine in 1981, which was probably a first time, at least as far as anybody knows, for a trans actress. She was also in Players magazine. They kind of run all that down. Some of the Euro softcore films she did, Black Aphrodite, the stuff that I mentioned with Jess Franco. And this is kind of a short but cool little piece on the evolution of both Black and also trans actors going into today. Interesting. I know with Ajita Wilson being a Jess Franco fan and special features and interviews throughout the years, Jess Franco and Lena Romay both spoke very highly of her. And again, just not a whole lot of info out there, unfortunately. Apparently, there's some show on Max called Disclosure or something that talks about her a little bit if you're curious. But yeah, managed to make almost 50 films and certainly an original. This also the cast also features Agnes Kalpagos, you might recognize from SS Experiment, Love Camp, Deported Women of the SS. You might notice a theme in that career. Achtung, Desert Tigers, Day of Violence, and also Lucio Fulci's often forgotten Silver Saddle. So that's kind of the rundown on the cast. So as you were mentioning, Todd, Black Deepthroat is very much a Black Emanuelle movie. Ajita Wilson, obviously very different from Laura Gemser.
And the Deep Throat is more of a reference to Watergate than the movie.
Yes.
It makes sense. I mean, yeah.
Yes, there's also some simulated blowjobbing going on though too. So maybe that had real Watergate too. Who knows? But
combination.
So does this stand up with the best of Black Emanuelle with Laura Gemser? No. A lot of this is going to depend on your if you're into Ajita Wilson in that way. And if so, I think you'll enjoy it, but that just is going to depend. Laura Gemser is so tied to Black Emanuelle. It's strange seeing somebody else trying to do it, but we are getting back to the Black Emanuelle meat and potatoes formula.
Yeah, even though it wasn't her in the first one, I kind of feel like it's more of a follow up to Black Emanuelle too.
Yeah.
It kind of feels more in touch, on line with that one.
It really does. And when you go back, I mean, she's infiltrating this cult. Um, you know, there's some drugs going on. She's kind of got a repressed memory thing going. It's a decent little storyline. I mean, it's interesting enough to watch. And even if you're not into Ajita Wilson, there's plenty of other ladies here disrobing. It is a sex cult after all. There's a funny moment involving a horse, and not what you think, because anytime a horse comes into these films,
That's a few
you
reviews
know,
back.
yeah, it might be something you don't want to see. It's nothing quite like that. There's a mystery why she's hearing this music, and um, uh, yeah, so there's a really good looking redhead in this one. There's several lesbian scenes. Again, I'm more of a Laura Gemser guy, obviously, but Ajita Wilson is good in the film. Um, and yeah, there's some weird moments where Ajita Wilson kind of has this other lady who's obsessed with her. At one point, she kind of smells her towel. It's a very kind of strange. It borders on triple X in a couple shots in this one, but never really goes there fully. And yeah, there's the typical orgy scenes of the time. There's a long orgy montage, and like I said, some decent. If you enjoy lesbian scenes, there's a lot of that. It doesn't stand up to the best of Black Emanuelle, but it's certainly not the worst either. So
That's where I'm at too. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
mean, at
gets a
least
little
it has
dark at the end too.
yeah, at least it has a formula. I think that's what I like about it. But yeah, this is definitely not one of the discs I'll be throwing in as often as, say, the earlier D'Amato trilogy.
No, definitely not. But the whole cult thing, it kind of worked. It was taking bits and pieces through different Emanuelle films, but again, we forget 77. Like so many of these movies were pumped out at the same time, and it's hard to get that exact timeline straight. Anyways,
This is the start of content. They were just pumping those fuckers out.
they were. One thing that I don't think it does as well as some of the Gemser stuff is the actual exotic locale footage. That was always something. Those Laura Gemser movies, particularly early on, but really through most of it, you always had just these beautiful exotic locations, and there's not as much of that here. You could definitely feel that this one was a little cheaper, but competently made and delivered again. All the basics that you would want out of a Black Emanuelle film.
I should have looked if they have this stuff is in the passport. If we're this far down, if it's still in the passport gimmick. Remember the passport? I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You've been. I got the calendar. I did get that. So, you know what? I don't know if I remember thumbing through it. I think it's all Laura Gemser.
Yeah,
Not complaining there, although technically you probably should have thrown in a couple of the other girls.
Yeah, give February to Black Emanuelle too, or
yeah, there you go. But yeah, what do you rate this one, Todd?
I'm a 2. It's below average for me. I mean, it's worth watching, but compared to the others, it is a little less entertaining for me.
Okay, I give it a 2.5.
Yeah, see, I was border on that one, but yeah, I'm just a little bit below.
Yeah, it's familiar ground for the most part, and it delivers just enough of what you need. So certainly not the worst movie in the set. So
no.
Check it out. You've made it this far, you might as well. And our second feature on this disc is the 1977 film, or I apologize, I got wrong paper. The 1978 film from director Joe D'Amato. We got the Porno Knights of the World #2 from director Joe D'Amato. Sorry, scatterbrain today. As you might imagine, this one is a Mondo film, which also stars Ajita Wilson, and the basic rundown of this very thin plot is that Amanda, a stewardess played by Ajita Wilson, will be your tour guide, taking you to the hottest places at night in every major city around the world. So we got Ajita Wilson, but we also have director Joe D'Amato back in this one. We talked a little bit ago about the Laura Gemser Mondo, straight Mondo, I should say, because there's always been Mondo elements, but the straight Mondo films that she did on this set. And this is Ajita Wilson's turn. And a little bit about some of the cast. We do get Marina Hedman, who is a Swedish actress. You might remember from Mario Bianchi's Satan's Baby Doll, which she played one of the main roles. She did a lot of adult films too, Erotico 2000. She was in Images in a Convent, Emanuelle and Joanna, also Play Motel, a very sleazy giallo, Beast in Space, and Emanuelle in America. And that's really the only other major cast member here, because this is just straight to it. Different lounge acts, different exotic locales, Mondo flick. She gets off the plane. She's being interviewed in a hotel. I don't know why a reporter is so interested in interviewing a random flight attendant, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to get you to the lounge acts. So this very familiar ground. There's the Hong Kong story where it's just the typical.
No, you're not starting with the first thing, Dan.
Did I not? That was the very first one.
Wasn't the mud wrestling the first thing?
Was not. You're just eager to get to it.
Maybe I am.
much later.
Oh, you're right. You're okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Todd, we'll get to the mud wrestling.
No, because first there was.
Calm down, Chad. No, there's ping pong first.
You know what? Because she gave me those fucking crazy eyes. I messaged you. I was like, this bitch has crazy eyes. But I mean, if you're sticking, yeah. Well, go ahead, Dan.
So we get the typical ping pong story, girls shooting the ping pongs out of them. It's gimmicked though in this one, and it's kind of obvious. All right, girl shoots the ping pong into some appalled lady's drink. Funny. The second story.
You're telling me that wasn't her skill of actually being able to shoot it into the.
She was not actually shooting it, so that segment gets a thumbs down.
She was actually inserting them though.
No, I don't think so. There might have been one.
100%.
She might have inserted, but you could tell she was not shooting those ping pong balls. It doesn't work for me, Doug.
No. I can't tell you if she was or wasn't shooting them. I can tell that like the landing wasn't, but yeah, I never saw anything.
Well, God damn it, I want to see it shoot out. So,
but it's 100% in there.
To fail, 0
so if
stars.
that helps you at all, Dan,
0 stars for that. I'm gonna say, in general, this one's kind of a relatively lame Mondo flick. There's moments. I'm skipping over some of it. We get a Cherokee tribal dance with some basic nudity. There's not a lot of thought that goes into some of these.
At least she had a nice body.
She did. Random couple on a boat banging, some belly dancers. We do get a decent lesbian scene. Then we get to where you wanted to go to immediately.
No, because I got the ping pong and the mud wrestling separately.
Mud wrestling. So we need to talk to our friend Andre Verdun and teach these bitches how to lock up properly, because goddamn, just because you're a mud wrestler doesn't mean you can't have proper technique.
They were just oh my god, it was like in slow motion. I was like, these, oh my god. at least when the guy got in there got interesting. I was like, here comes Dad, ready to fuck shit up.
Yeah, I mean, this one was funny.
And that did not look like mud. That looked like doo doo.
It did look
I'm
like
sure
very
time with
sus
this
mud. Very, yeah.
It was
sus
100%
mud.
not the sexy mud you'd see a Vince McMahon use in a WWE match.
No,
I'm
I
kind of
think
curious what he used in that mud now.
100% any mud gimmick Vince shit in. That is just 100. It happened. It just
Oh,
happened.
that was Vince's turn, that Sunny Slop bucket. I'm just
I'm gonna need another bucket, pal. Uh, so, so yeah, we get the mud wrestling. We get a bit where Ajita herself, who's not just kind of introducing these segments, she has a segment with living statues. Kind of plays around, sort of jacks off a statue.
I was like, wait, is that her? Why is she doing the voice? I was like, okay.
Yeah, she
It
got
threw
in
me
on
off.
the action.
It threw me off at first though, because she was doing the voiceover of it also. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that is her.
All of it up to this point was very light, fluffy Mondo. It does get a little more nasty towards the end. There's an S&M whipping scene, dude cutting a girl's butt cheeks and then drinking the blood. So get a little bit of shock there. There's a shit eating thing that comes out of nowhere, which it looks fake. I mean, it's like the most obvious chocolate pudding from the local convenience store. But these movies were there to shock, though, and I don't know if Ajita Wilson jacking off a living statue is shocking enough. So that's in here, which is followed by a lesbian scene. But your boner fuel's pretty much gone after you get to the shit stuff. Beyond that, there's a Lady Zorro thing, and of course, we have to get some actual donkey action towards the very end. And of course, the finale is the long teased lesbian scene with Ajita and the reporter. The end. This has its moments. I've said this before. Some Mondo films are better than others, but once you've seen a few, you kind of know what you're getting. They're all very similar. Not great. A little kind of scatterbrained, like I said, where it gets a little bit more hardcore at the end. This one for me is this one for me is a 1.5. I'm a little bit lower. It has its moments, but yeah.
I'm just a one, straight one. Yeah,
There
that's just it's. You're right with the Mondo stuff. It's kind of like at this point.
Yeah, and not just because we've been reviewing all these movies back to back to back for the last however long.
It's like Nudie Cuties. Once you've had your full, it's like after that, they're all kind of blend together, run the same a little bit, and
they
you have
do
to really stand out at that point once you've seen a few of them.
Absolutely, and eating pudding is not shocking. So,
where's the pudding getting ate out of? Never mind. Don't answer, Dan.
All right, guys. So that's pretty much it. There's no special features on this one. One more show, guys. We're at the grand finale. So be sure to check it out. Patreon.com/FleshWound Features. It all starts at just $1. Check out our other content on there. And also our free Discord link in the description. On that note, thank you and come again hard.
Good evening.